Hi, my name is Sam, and it's 2024, June 8th, about 11:51. I'm trying to find online assistance, and I'm having a large amount of trouble just getting people to post an event. We use events on the calendar, and we would actually search for existing events. If a person is starting, they're just going to reuse an existing event. Here's an example of the process. I'm going to reconcile a site. It's not the detail that matters at the beginning, it's the general approach. I have to exist and stand in time, so I use an event. And in this case, I'm going to duplicate this event. I'm still working on this event, so I'm not going to have to alter a lot of the details. But the majority of the details that have to be changed involve the time, which has the year, month, the date, the beginning time, and the end time. Pack event is the general effort of any online person, and then there's an indicator for the who, the company initials, position initials, which is admin, and then we just enumerate admin number one, admin one, admin two, admin three. We put the main title here. That's the name of this event. We map it over here to the month, to the time, and then beginning and end, and the time zone matches the person's time zone. Very big issue with people offshore. They don't seem to understand. Use truthful data. Use your own time zone, use your own date and time. We put the name in the main, the mapping, and in the memo area. The memo area, we put it at the beginning and at the end. And we leave three artifacts, the three prior events, so that we can audit the path of obtaining events and inheritance of the relations and links. At this point, this event, this is the name, and when I save it, I expect to see it, and we orient our view to a week, and there it is. So my event is right here. I can share it with the group, and I would put what I was seeking, and this is reconcile site, and then the name of the event that I'm using, and then the path. At this point, anybody could come to this point in time, and even in the past, they could rectify issues from the past, they could schedule going forward, but they have to stand in time on an event of their own posting. If a person doesn't do that, it's hopeless. First step is to establish standing, and the standing is established by posting what we call a now event. And your now event represents you standing in time and with honest data. So in this case, I'm going to do a review of a site, which I've termed reconcile site because I'm already involved in the process. It's got a focus, and the focus is what can bring me out of this event and to the spreadsheet where we do the documentation. So this brings me to that period. We have past services that were performed at this site. It's an awful lot of data to keep track of. So a person who wants to understand is never going to understand if they're attempting understanding without doing. It's by doing that you can come to understand. So we have these different packages. In this case, we call them albums, and they're site visits that document the services that were performed, that include documents, photos, calendar events, Google Maps data that gives us all the data we need in order to reconcile jobs, site visits, services. We package them in accord with time periods. In this case, I have it by quarter, by half, and then by year. And what I'm starting to do here is reconcile the past information so that I could schedule forward. Some of the work, most of it's monthly, but some of it is actually every 3 years, so there's a benefit even into going back to the prior periods. We establish that there's a beginning and an end to each period, whether it be a year or down to a particular event. The focus of this is just to focus on posting an event, and the event will exist on the calendar. The calendar event can link and relate to everything else. If a person doesn't make an event and post it to the calendar, nothing else matters. They're not engaging in the process. They'll seek to understand, they want to know, but they won't do. It's by doing that they can achieve understanding. I've gone through 3 people within the last week, and they would not post events. They want to understand it. They want to think about it. They don't want to actually work and do the posting. This is the event. It's posted 11:52. I would take my path to the sheet. And at that point, I have to relate and link in 2 directions. So the point here has a focus that takes me to the sheet, which I already had open. It should take me to the specific cell that I'm beginning and focusing upon. And then I can take my event that I came from, copy the URL, and then relate and link going back. So in this case, this is already going into a greater level of detail. If a person's not willing to post an event, it's lost already. And I've got a couple of people who are still they still say they want to work, but they won't post an event. So the package event, I can link it here. And at this point, I have a 2-way link. We used coloration to have indication of a deeper level of meaning. In this case, light green means that I can go from this point back to my event, and my event can go from the event to the point of focus. So I now have 2-way relation. There's additional information. It becomes overwhelming, so you have to take it one step at a time. If you try to understand it, it's too much. One step at a time. And the first step is to post an event. I exist here at 11:52 a.m. My post exists here. And I can't even show all the calendars because there's thousands of events. And each of them relate to documentation, to effort, to potential scheduled work, or to compliance issues. It's overwhelming. So we isolate and we make a singular event. And the singular event exists to indicate I'm here, present, and I'm going to engage in some activity. Those activities are too in-depth to start. So you engage first with posting a singular event. It exists. And from this, we can relate and link, establish paths of communication, go to documents, photos, images of anything that we need in order to accomplish the task. It's through hyperlinking and relation, but 2 directions. You go bidirectional so that you can go from and to, and to from. This simple thing seems to be the hardest thing for people online, and I really don't understand why. Thank you.